Welcome back to the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show, brought to you by Salvatore's Pizza. Our next set of guests are, they're from Irondequoit, which makes near and dear to my heart, which is where I work now. They are from the Irondequoit girls volleyball team. The head coach, Marc Callari, joins us now in his, we'll get to that, what season this is. 1996. I can't do math that quickly, but it's been a while for Coach Callari. And senior hitter Jashawna Luke and Barbie Smith, another senior on the squad, also on our specialties hotline. Welcome to the show, Eagles. Off to, at the time of us, we're taping this, you're unbeaten. You won 3 in a row. I know I'm going to start with Coach Callari because this was a guy who I know was very worried in my talks with him that you weren't going to get a season, Mark. And I knew, that was really eating away at you. I guess, why did it bother you so much? And then how elated were you when you found out?
It bothered me for a couple of reasons. One, all summer I was tracking what the National High School Sports Organization, and they had us in the moderate, and then New York State ended up putting us in the high risk, and there was really never any explanation for that. So that was the first thing. The second thing is Jashawna and Barbie started with me 8 years ago at the youth program when we first started having that and opened that up. So for that, to see that group go from 5th graders having no clue about the sport and to see how far they've come in their accomplishments, not to have a senior season would have been heartbreaking. And then the final piece, and this is more on a personal level, is I have 2 daughters on the team. One's a senior and one's a freshman. And I know how much volleyball means to them. So there were so many layers to it that I just was keeping my fingers crossed that we would eventually end up having a season. So I'm just so thankful and so grateful.
John, what does it mean to you to have the season with all the success that your team has had in the past and the thought that maybe there would be an emptiness this year?
It means everything, honestly, because I was so scared that we weren't going to have a season, but I was hopeful at the same time because I seen that the numbers started getting better and other teams were able to start practicing and having games and stuff. So it gave me hope, but at the same time, I was obviously very scared because we got so far in our season last year. I wanted my senior season to happen so I could bring this team along to sectionals and if we were able to have regionals and states. So it meant a lot for, me to have this this season.
Well, it's 3 straight Section 5 championships for this squad and this group. And it's not just these 2 ladies. There's a couple other seniors. You mentioned Caitlin Callari, your older daughter. Your freshman is McKenna. But Ella Straub is a senior on this team, and Maddie Verhagen's a senior on this team. So you all were together for the last 8 years. So it would have been bad, Barbie, if you guys didn't get to play that final season. But here's another thing, is that to a degree, you all kind of waited your turn. This was supposed to be your time to get the minutes on the court. You had a talented group the last couple of years. So that would have been a bummer too. I guess, Barbie, do you remember where you were when you found out you guys were going to have a season? How did that feel?
Oh, I was actually at work and I had went on my break and I just saw all the messages from mainly the seniors, but just everybody in general, kind of like, did you read this? Like, is this real? Like, is somebody messing with us? Like, what's actually happening? And it was just really cool to see like everybody being so excited and everybody just being on the same page right from the start, because it wasn't about like who was going to play, who was going to start. It was just everybody was so excited that we were even going to be able to play.
What does it take to sustain success at this level? Class A is a large group and there's a ton of competition, and maybe it starts with having kids start in 5th grade and coming up for 8 years and continuity, but I think it takes more than that. What are all the ingredients to your recipe for success?
Well, the one thing, and I've always said this, is if I can get a kid into the gym, the sport sells itself. And they fall in love with the sport and they're willing to do the things that you need to, whether it's going to camps, whether it's, the weight training that we do, whether it is going out and playing club, just getting the kids into the gym, which this is why I'm so excited that we are having a season, because this group of kids walked into the gym never having played volleyball, and to see how much they've grown and developed it's just so rewarding and so exciting. I just know the amount of time that we put in, you get rewarded for that. And these girls have put in the time, put in the effort. They come to the open gyms. They did the 7 a.m. Open gyms that we had because there was no gym space. They're dedicated, they're committed, and they're loyal to each other. So it's just been really, really exciting to see some of the things they've accomplished as a group. And, again, just so excited that we are having this season.
We're talking some Irondequoit volleyball here on the Connors and Ferris High School Sports Show. Jashawna, this is a season where you need to be at your best all the time. There can't be any lulls. And you've been out of the gates. You've been fantastic. In fact, you are our Bob Johnson Auto Girls Athlete of the Week. I can say that even before you play 2 more matches later in the week, because you had 17 kills, 16 digs, and 6 aces against Webster Thomas in a sweep. And then you dropped the first set against Mendon. And then you win 3 in a row, 18, 10, and 20, 19 kills, 9 digs, 4 aces. I remember a couple years ago, or maybe it might have been when you're sophomores. No, I think it was you were juniors. I think you lost a really early season match, and coach got after you, Jashawna. What was it like when you dropped the first set the other night? What was the little talk after that?
So it was not okay. So it was kind of scary because it was our first set that we had lost, and this is basically a brand new team. So coach was basically talking to us in the huddle, and he was just telling us that this is like our moment to shine, and telling us that this is our time to prove to him that we really wanted this, and that we're really willing to fight to, beat our opponents. And, we just knew at the end of the day that there's going to always be a target on our back, and we had to make a statement, and that we had to pull through and pick ourselves up and dominate for the rest of the game. So, yeah.
Barbie, Jashawna just mentioned the target on your back. When you are privileged enough to play in a program that has success, sometimes that can work a couple of ways. I mean, is there pressure to succeed, or are you guys just driven on your own to do that? Talk about what motivates you.
I think there is pressure to perform at a high level, but I don't think that that's inflicted on us by our coaching staff or by any other players. I think it is, we want to be good for our team. We want to keep adding years to our banner. Like every practice, that's what we talk about, adding a league year to our banner, adding a sectional year to our banner. Like, it's very intrinsically motivating. And Jashawna's like perfectly right when she's talking about statements. Like that's what we've been talking about this whole year, is that there are going to be teams that come in that they haven't beaten us in 4 or 5 years, and they think without some of our bigger players from the previous years that they can do that this year. And I know Jashawna and I, our goal has been, that's not going to happen. And this is not their year, because we're still here and we're still motivated the same amount that we were. And just because it's new players doesn't mean that drive is not there.
You lost Drew Kemp, you lost Emma Sheehan, 2 AGR picks, and then you have 1 AGR pick back. Coach Callari, how talented is this young lady here, Jashawna? I know you coached an amazing athlete, Mary Cushman. She's putting up. She has games like that, right? I mean, how good is she? What's her ceiling, and what's her future look like?
It's been interesting because Mary was one of the few 8th graders that started for me as an 8th grader, and Jashawna came along, and 7th grade she was JV. 8th grade we pulled her up, and the numbers she put up they're very, very similar to Mary. She, at the beginning of the year, she was like 289 kills away from breaking Mary Cushman's kills record for the school. And it just mind-boggling to think. I never thought I'd have anybody come close to, I think it was 1,476 kills Mary had, and to
give or take a kill.
Something like that. It was funny. We were talking about it earlier in the week, Jashawna and I, and, for her to have the opportunity to do that is just extraordinary. And it goes back to how much time and the dedication she has. I remember I was her club coach way back in the day. And she was a middle, and I told her, you're going to be an outside on this team. And she did not like my decision. However, when she was a freshman, I remember, during preseason talking to her, I said, so what do you think of that decision now? She's like, yeah, you were right,
Well, I know it's a great group of seniors. You got some good, young, talented players too, Mark, for the continuity, one being your daughter. I want to ask you about coaching girls and coaching boys, because I didn't think I really knew this, or I forgot it because I'm old now. You coached boys for 10 years.
Yeah.
Simultaneously with the girls, and then you had to make a decision. Why'd you go with the girls? I mean, you're a girl dad, but
yeah, that was one of the factors. Is I always thought, I've just loved coaching forever, and I thought it'd be a really cool experience to coach your own daughters eventually. But at the time, honestly, the boys, it was something to do, where the girls were the kids that were, going that extra level. I remember hosting open gyms for boys, hosting open gym for girls, and I'd get 4 boys and I'd get 18 girls. And with them, taking that extra step, wanting to do club, I just felt like that was the better fit for me. And I had been coaching 3 sports for a long time, and I'm an avid golfer. So I thought, well, having the fall off wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but then they moved it. So then I did have to make the decision, and, I don't regret it. I do miss the boys game. They're 2 totally different games. The boys game is about power and blocking, where the girls game is just so team oriented, and I love that aspect of it. It's about ball control, it's about defense, it's about serving. So it is look, I think I made the right decision. I hope I did, and here I am 25 years later. So
well, I think 8 Section 5 titles and the 2008 state championship are pretty good credentials to rely on. Barbie and Jashawna, real quick, we'll start with Barbie. What's he like? What are you going to 10 years from now, when you think about Coach Callari, what are you going to think about?
For me, Coach and I have always had a unique relationship, because he actually lives 2 doors down from me. And I've been friends with Caitlin since we were 3, playing live dolls in her basement. So
you've watched her grow up. Yeah.
We've been close forever. And when I was little, I would pepper with Caitlin in the backyard, and he would see how many times in a row we could pass it back to each other. And I would always ask him, how many times can the varsity girls do this? Like, thinking it was like 10 or 15. He's like, no, they have to go for like 5 minutes without letting the ball hit the floor. And that always baffled me. So I just think it's really cool to have built that relationship throughout the years, and now to be one of his players and to be part of the reason he's successful is really special to me and important.
Jashawna, how much has he pushed you?
Coach, he kind of getting a little emotional. I'm emotional, but he kind of holds a little special spot in my heart, because he helped me find who I was, who I'm becoming and everything. He pushed me to be everything that I thought I couldn't be. He made me so determined in life, work for everything, just always put my heart in everything. And he would just always hold a special part of my spot in my heart, because without him, I wouldn't even be where I am today. I wouldn't even know what volleyball was. I came from I'm in the urban suburban program, so I didn't grow up on knowing things like that. So he showed me a lot, and he's helped me through a lot, and he's always been the person to vouch for me and been there for me. So yeah, that's what I always think about.
Wow. What year were you ladies born? Barbie, what year were you born?
Jashawna? 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been doing this show since 2003. This is the first time we've had somebody cry on the show, Jashawna.
Versus
Other than me.
That's really good. So that's really special. And I'm a little short on time, but I really appreciate you doing this, ladies, and Coach Callari. Obviously, I wish you the best of luck. I hope I get to cover another Section 5 champion again. I knew this was one of the reasons I wanted to be at Irondequoit when I left the newspaper. So, Coach, thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Ladies, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Just try to get yourself a tissue.
Please.
All right.